Sarah,
Yes.
why is my brain trying to stop me from having six-pack abs?
What an amazing question.
Yeah, come January, I'm one of those guys
hmm
who, I hit the gym, I feel good, I feel motivated, I'm starting to make some gains, and then February hits, and I just stop, and I don't even know why.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me?
you
This
know,
question is personal.
yes, yes. It's a good question because I think a lot of people can relate to that, right? It's the New Year's resolution. Everyone starts doing something for themselves. And then we oftentimes, February hits, March hits, and it just like slow decline, right? And the reason that that happens is because we are doing something that is out of our norm. We are, as human beings, very much creatures of habit. So we are going to go to what our norm is, what our baseline is. And whenever we start to do something different than that, that's going to feel wrong. That's going to feel new. We're not going to know what to expect or how to react or anything like that. So,
When I first go to the gym, everything
yep,
feels wrong.
exactly. Same here. But yeah, we don't, this is different. Now you're tired or you're energized or, we're feeling differently throughout the week. We're maybe having less time to do uh maybe this other activity that we enjoy doing because we're going to the gym now and our schedules changed and so our norms, our habits, all of that is then switching up. And so it's like, oh, we're having to adjust to something and that takes a while for us to actually change what that norm is.
So, one of the core concepts I wanted to dig into
Yeah.
that I found interesting is something that's called, or what I saw called, the thermostat effect or the upper limit problem.
Mhm.
Uh, Basically, it posits that, all things being equal, we'll trade happiness for comfort.
Mhm.
And that's why a lot of us struggle to maintain, say, a fitness regime or some of our other goals. Can you talk a bit about that?
So we as human beings, we crave comfort, we do not love change, and we thrive in our norms, right? So whatever that norm is, whether it's a healthy norm or an unhealthy norm. So if we are in a pattern that is not really great for our life in whatever way, whether that be physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. Um, Changing it, sometimes our body actually rejects it a little bit, or it's a little hesitant because it's different than what we are used to because we know what to expect if it's our norm. We know how to react. We know, what happens next. But if we're changing it, whoa, our body's like, what's going on? What's happening? And we are going to default to our comfort zone, whatever our norm is.
It boggles my mind a little bit, though, that, why is this thermostat so wonky? Is this coming from some primal part of our reptilian brain? It can't distinguish between when I'm trying to make a change for good or,
Sure.
a change for bad?
Yeah.
Does it just view all changes negative or dangerous?
Sure. No, that's a great question. Yeah, our body is super smart, but it's not brilliantly smart. So yes.
Well, I could have told you that.
So yes, our we do have a hard time distinguishing sometimes what is going to be positive change versus negative change because a lot of things can sometimes get in the way. I mean, we could go down this whole other conversation of, that's where anxious thoughts can come in the way, that can be unrealistic expectations. But more importantly, it's this idea that we want it to be predictable because even though whatever we're doing might not necessarily be healthy, whatever we have programmed as our reaction or what we're going to do to cope with it, it feels safe to us, right? And we're all about self preservation. So when you ask about, like, does it hit something that is just, this reptilian brain, right? Yeah, it's this adaptation, perhaps, that if the people who, stayed safe and had that self preservation, they were the ones to thrive. So we're not really great with with the changing part. And that can get in the way.
Is this where imposter syndrome comes from? Is it just really my inner thermostat trying to protect me from the shame of potential failure?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Imposter syndrome, while that can also be tied to a lot of other aspects as well, right? That can be tied to um, different beliefs from childhood. That can be, in there because of different traumatic situations or whatever it may be. There's also the element that you bring up, which is, yes, this idea of I'm not familiar with it, and so therefore I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can actually get healthier or communicate better with my partner or, succeed in trying to get a promotion. I don't know if that's going to happen. And so some negativity can also come in, and negative thoughts and imposter syndrome can sometimes collide there.
Okay, well, speaking of negativity,
Yeah.
I've heard it said, I'm going to paraphrase, I hope I don't butcher it, but I've heard it said the brain is like Velcro to bad experiences
Hmm.
and Teflon to good ones.
Yes.
Mine is particularly resistant. Could you talk a bit about negativity bias and
Yeah.
maybe how that relates to the thermostat effect?
We as human beings hold on to, remember, absorb the negative experiences, the negative comments, the negative situations more than the positive. The ratio is wildly out of balance. I don't know if you've heard this, but I think the ratio they usually say is somewhere around, for every uh, one negative situation that we experience, we need about like 7 to 10 to combat it. So we're
Really?
very out of balance as people, very out of balance just from the get go.
Right, right. I probably need about 20, but
I
fair
know,
enough.
right? Me too.
It's a pretty subtle thing. I think a lot of people would say, well, I'm not negative, I'm a realist.
Hmm.
What are some typical ways that negativity bias influences our daily life?
I mean, obviously, the way that we think influences most of everything that we do, because obviously, what we think impacts our actions, and I always tend to say that it's our beliefs impact our thoughts and impact our actions, right? And then that can sometimes be cyclical. Then what we do then reinforces our beliefs, which impact our thoughts, which impact our actions, right? So if we're believing that we can do something or that there's the possibility of change, then that's going to impact what we're thinking to ourselves. And then that's going to impact what we can actually do. Same type of way that if we are thinking realistically, right? Okay, yeah, this may happen, but it may not. That's realistic. Sure, that's understandable. But there is a difference between, hey, this could happen, but I'm going to work really hard to do it and it might not. There's a difference between that and, you know what, brain, this most likely won't happen. This, there's a really good chance that it won't. Even if that does feel like you have some evidence to back it up, right? Maybe historically we haven't been really great at fulfilling new challenges or trying new things or starting new patterns. There is a difference in how we speak to ourselves. We have to be very intentional about that. Yes, you can be realistic, it has to be believable, but we don't want to be too negative.
So I'm trying to connect all the dots here. Does our negativity bias actually feed the thermostat effect? Like, is my baseline set so low specifically because I'm holding on to all those negative memories?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. That can definitely contribute to it. What we speak about in counseling, or what I speak about in counseling a lot with my clients, is that because of the negativity bias, because that ratio is so vast and that we're almost like set up for a disaster right off the bat. We have to, and that doesn't even include like our childhood and those memories that you mentioned and everything, right? Like then we have all of that piled on, is we have a lot of intentional work to do, to try to raise that threshold and our norm and our baseline. And or the other way of seeing it, almost like try to balance out the scale a bit. Because again, like 1 to 7 to 10, whew, that's hard, right? We are already like so lopsided. So us being able to, really try to work on the way that we're speaking to ourselves is going to at least help us try to even out. We're not going to get it perfectly. That's not going to happen. But we really do need to work on changing our baseline or trying to raise it up a bit so that we can feel like we can do new things, do hard things.
The other thing I've noticed is, not only do we have some of these internal challenges
Yeah.
affecting us, but, I'll let you in on a little secret.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
that my brain is conspiring with outside sources to sabotage me. Like, like I've noticed that when I start to make positive changes, some of my friends and family start getting like weirdly defensive.
Mhm.
Why is it that sometimes when we're making positive changes to our life,
Mhm.
it seems to rub others the wrong way?
Well, it kind of goes right back to that same, uh, you know, uh, explanation as, why we also struggle with it internally, is that, we're struggling because we're so used to our norm. Other people are used to our norm, how we respond to them, how we interact with them, what boundaries we have, what boundaries we don't have. So if all of a sudden that changes, whoa, right? The temperature's off. The temperature has changed. I don't know how to react to you. I don't know what to expect from you. This is not your norm. So that can sometimes rub people the wrong way, or it can sometimes be an adjustment period for people. And it is important to remember that it is just an adjustment period, right? Other people will be able to eventually do what we do ourselves, which is we go through that, temperature change, and then we are adjusted to whatever our new norm is. They will also adjust to your new norm based off of maybe if you're trying to communicate differently with them, or if you're trying to implement boundaries, or if you're trying to have more of a relationship with someone, or if no matter what it is, right? They will adjust. It's just that there might be that little in between time that feels a bit uncomfortable for both people.
What's a good way to sort of temper that initial friction,
Mhm.
especially when it's people within your own household?
Sure. Yep. Like adjust to different eating or something like that. Absolutely. Um, Depending on the situation. Obviously, the best case scenario would be that we're in an environment where we feel like we can talk about it, right? Just straight up being able to say, "Hey, we're both going to feel weird about this. You're not going to like this, and I'm not going to like this. And maybe we're both not going to like it for different reasons. So, one, let's just acknowledge that, right? You're allowed to have your feelings. I'm allowed to have my feelings. And we're going to allow that to be present and that to be okay. And then here's how we can work together during this adjustment period. It again, obviously that is like best case scenario. If you feel like you're able to talk to whoever it is that you're going through that temperature change with, so to speak, right? But if not, if we don't feel like we're able to just address it, then being able to kind of put some buffers in place for yourself. If we feel like we need to, uh, you know, decompress before we come home from the gym, for example, if we know we're going to be met with people offering you a bunch of desserts or, or things like that. And you're like, no, I'm trying to stay healthy. We come home from the gym, maybe we need, to take that commute from the gym back home or sit in the driveway for 5 minutes and tell yourself some things, or get yourself in a certain mindset before walking into the house so you can be like, "Okay, I I got this," right? Rather than just coming home, walking in, being bombarded with something that feels really unhelpful to us. And then we just get frustrated and maybe they get frustrated. Right. So maybe doing some buffers before and after things, and potentially also practicing things that we would like to say to keep us in line with whatever we are trying to work on. In my therapy sessions, rehearse with clients. I'm like, okay, let's say it. Let's have things to say so that we don't have deer in headlights moments, right? Let us practice, rehearse. There is nothing wrong with sitting in your car and saying something out loud. People just think you're on the phone. So it's fine, right? And okay, I'm about to walk into the house. What do I want to say to my partner? What do I want to say to whoever, right? I'm driving to work. What do I want to say to my boss? Okay, let me be able to say this so that it's right there on the tip of my tongue. I've said it. I'm a little bit more comfortable. Doesn't mean I won't be nervous, but I feel a little bit more comfortable to do so.
Yeah, you feel a little more prepared and you'll have a little more control, and then
Yes.
hopefully frustration doesn't set in and you say something that, aggravates the situation.
Absolutely. Or just like an impulsive thing, right? Sometimes that's not that
I've been
sometimes
known to be
yeah,
a little impulsive.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. And sometimes it gets us, into sticky situations. So
Yeah, sometimes. Uh, just to bring it back a bit
yeah.
to the negativity bias and the thermostat effect, I was trying to think, like, for men in midlife, I know
Mhm.
a very common way this plays out is people stay at jobs that are a little challenging
Mhm.
because they feel safe.
Yes.
What are some other subtle ways you've seen this play out for people in midlife?
Staying at jobs is a great example. I think romantic relationships and friendships is a huge one. Do we have a friendship that is serving us or isn't serving us? Do we need friendship or community? That sometimes can be a thing where we're really comfortable just coming home and watching TV and eating dinner and going to bed. And for some people, that's absolutely fine. But sometimes we are so comfortable in it that perhaps we need some other things. Romantic relationships, are we in a partnership that is serving us or isn't serving us? And there's that negative thinking that could come in of, well, will I find someone else? Or is this good enough? Or, you know, if I if I change, what if I get into something worse? That's another one I hear, right? What if I go and find a worse job? There's always bad things at a job, right? It can just keep us very stuck in a lot of different big pieces of our life.
Okay, well, let's talk some interventions.
Yeah.
It's February 1st.
Yep.
I'm practicing some good habits. Who knows? Maybe
Uh-huh.
I'm even flossing. But I'm starting to feel myself, reach out for that dial.
Mhm.
The excuses are starting to come fast and furious.
Yep.
You know, What are some things I can do in the here and now, some practical things, so I don't end up turning that dial down?
It's easier said than done. It really is. It
Right.
is easier said than done. It seems kind of simple, right? Like, oh, we can just motivate yourself. Just do it, right? There's all those wonderful slogans and sayings that seemingly are great, but putting them into actual practice is so much different. So, when we talk about actually making those changes, and especially with the negativity bias, those negative thoughts, it's going to be doing a little bit of work to say, hey, I have to start saying different things to myself, because the only reason that I maybe believe the negative things, like, oh, this is never going to happen. Oh, I've tried this before and it didn't work, or whatever it may be. The only reason we think that and those thoughts come to our mind is because situations have happened that have made us believe those thoughts, and we've said them to ourselves. And we've said them over and over and over and over throughout our entire life in different situations. And that's why it's a quick automatic thought that can come easily to our brain. But because we do not hold on to the positive as much, right? Negativity bias, because we are so off balance and we are not good at holding on to those positive thoughts, we don't have those automatically come to our brain at times.
Mhm.
So we have to intentionally do that work. So being able to have different positive thoughts in front of us is very, very helpful. Being able to see things, for if you're a visual person, especially, or if you have like ADD or ADHD or something, right? Like having something in our face is very, very helpful, because sometimes, and I'll just be straight up honest here, is that positive psychology, having positive thoughts or affirmations around, can come off a little bit cheesy for people.
Okay.
It's sort of like the post-it on the mirror that says, like, "You are great," or "You can
Yeah,
do
be
it,"
great.
or "Yeah," right? "You can do it." It comes off a little bit cheesy, and I totally get it. I think it's important to be straight up and be like, "Yeah, it can come off as cheesy, for sure." However, we know the science behind it, and we know that the more that we say something to ourselves, the more that we are going to believe it and think it. And then again, that influences our action, what we do.
Practically speaking,
Yeah.
is this like, having positive themes or pictures on your phone, or what does this look like in the moment?
Again, as cheesy as it sounds, grab some sticky notes, put them on your bedside table, put them in your car, put them on your dresser and on your mirror, whatever it is, and put things that feel believable for us. Don't put things that feel wildly positive and again are like, is everything will go great. You got this. Everything might not go great. That's
Yeah,
not very
right,
helpful, you know?
right.
But something that's like, you have been able to go to the gym, you know, believe that you can try to do it again tomorrow. Something that feels like, yeah, I'm going to try to believe that I can go again. Or if it's something about you know, communication, or trying to, go for a promotion at work or something like that, right? It's put things in front of us. You mentioned like on your phone, having your screensaver or like that lock photo. I've had people do that. How many times do we look at our phone? Oh my gosh, so many times. Okay, cool. Have it in front of my face. Or intentionally, uh, spend 5 minutes in the morning or before you go to bed. Either one. In the morning or before you go to bed, you can make it a part of your morning routine or your evening routine, where you intentionally uh, review kind of the positive statements that you've written down, or you can reflect on maybe some more positive things that you need to say to yourself that maybe you noticed within that day or within that week. So you can even, make it a part of something you're doing. Like I said, morning time, nighttime, or honestly, do it while you're in the shower. That's something you got to do anyway, or while you're driving to work or home from work. Take that 15 minutes. Be like, okay, what are some positive things that I need to remind myself for today?
Would music also apply here if they find something uplifting or the lyrics uplifting?
Absolutely. Yes. Music and creative things, arts, really just in general, is a really good way that people connect to it. If that can inspire a new thought or an affirmation for yourself, absolutely.
Yeah, I tried journaling. That's not happening.
Sure. And that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah, I quickly ran out of patience.
Yep. Yep. Some people aren't journaling people, and some people are,
Uh,
which is totally fine. Um, but I also tell people that doing just kind of like brain dump journaling, where it's not like dear diary, blah 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 blah, right? Um, eh, Bullet points. You know what happened during your day. Maybe you got really frustrated at work, and it's the job that you're trying to get out of, and you just need to dump, you know, this made me upset. And then maybe just write, okay, what is my positive thought that I need to remind myself about maybe getting through the rest of this job or trying to apply for something new or whatever it may be, right? It can be 2 sentences. You know what it's about.
doesn't have to be Shakespeare.
No, not at all.
In another conversation I had, it was pointed out it's important to have some grace with yourself.
Yeah.
So for those of us who've fallen right off of our resolutions,
Yes.
like everything is just
Yes.
completely come apart.
Yes.
What would you say to the person who's like, I've done it again? They're
Mhm.
starting to beat themselves up. It's
Mhm.
February. I've stopped working out and all the other positive changes. How do I come back from that?
I love this question. I tell people that we actually need to shoot for medium or the middle. As people, we have a very common way of thinking, negative belief pattern that is like all or nothing. It's a very, very common thing where if we're, for example, not going to the gym, all of a sudden, when we start that resolution on January 1st, we're going hard, right? Like all of a sudden, we want to go every single day and we want to, eat amazingly and do everything to the max, right? All of a sudden, we want to be this like gym buff person. Uh, that is not sustainable. That is going from the all or from the nothing to the all, right? And shooting for the medium, for the middle, right, is somewhere in that balance of, hey, how about we try to go to the gym at least 2 to 3 times a week? Something that feels achievable and reasonable, right?
Yeah.
Something that actually we can sustain. Because if we're changing our baseline and changing our norm, if what we're talking about, if changing that, adjusting that baseline is so difficult, we have to do that in baby steps, right? So it's like, hey, we're going to start with maybe doing it, twice a week for 30 minutes. And if I can do that, awesome. You can increase it. But doing something that feels very achievable and reasonable somewhere in the gray, somewhere not the all, not the nothing, but somewhere that feels very approachable.
Yeah. Small, consistent steps
Yeah,
that way won't trigger that inner thermostat that we've been talking about.
absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Sarah, this has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now, before I let you go, I always like to end our show with a quick game of this or that so our viewers can get to know you better. Are you up for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just grab my handy list here.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm so ready.
Drip coffee or espresso?
Drip coffee.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Swim or hike?
Swim.
Fiction or nonfiction?
It's a tough one. I'm going to go fiction.
Call or text?
Call.
Country or hip hop?
Hip hop.
Detroit style pizza or Coney dog?
Oh, I'm from Michigan. Did you know that? Detroit style pizza.
Karaoke or a trivia night?
Karaoke.
Travel or leisure?
Travel.
Bolts or Red Wings?
Ooh, Bolts! I'm gonna go Bolts! I'm so sorry, Red Wings! I'm so sorry!
Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yes, so good to talk to you and meet you.
Yeah, you too, Sarah.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.